I think tomorrow night is going to be a very, very competitive game. Everything that I thought about Oklahoma State initially, after watching a few days of film on them, I was definitely convinced that they're a very high-level team that we're going to have to play really well against.
After coming off what you had on Sunday, what's the kind of the focus and I guess getting them back into the job and the routine ahead after a game like that?
Well, I think that it's Big 12 play. I mean, that's what is difficult, and on the other hand, a little bit easier when you have an experienced team, that they understand that the page has to be turned pretty quick, and more importantly, every single team gives you something different, and you kind of have to just wipe away what happened in your last game, other than maybe taking a few nuances that you can improve on. But, I mean, quite honestly, Oklahoma State's very different than West Virginia, so we kind of have to wipe that one and really quickly start to adapt to how they play and what we need to do to try to play with them here at home.
Looking at LaShawn Higgs, I mean, it's kind of the story of someone, of a player maturing over time, and I know you've always been very vocal about her in support and also in criticism. What kind of forced her to turn the page is not the right word, but to really add a different chapter this year?
I think there's a couple of things that force players to grow up, and one of them is just natural maturation of going from a sophomore to a junior. I think you see usually a pretty big leap that year if they're going to make one. I think the other thing that creates quick maturity or changes is competition. And I think LaShawn is a very competitive player that really, really does want to do well, and she really wants to win and help her team win. But I also think that she knew that there were some good players coming in and that she needed to be able to make some changes so that she can help lead our team instead of be one of those maybe vying for a position. I think she knew that it was her time to step up.
I'll give you the floor on Oklahoma State. You said that they're a much different team. What kind of challenge will they possess after you face a team like West Virginia?
Well, I think they have a lot of balance. It starts really on the inside with Jensen and Coleman just because of their level of experience. I mean, those two have a lot of minutes in Big 12 play. They understand the grind of the season. They understand the possession game that begins to occur in Big 12 play. But I also think that the addition of Lauren Goodwin has completely elevated their team, just because we say it all the time, the point guard, the quarterbacks, they're always head to monsters, and this team is a little bit of a monster right now, and it's because they have a floor general. They have someone that can score the basketball and makes really good decisions. They have balance, which gives them a totally different look than they had last year. I also think the addition of they have some freshmen that are very talented also.
How much do you enjoy this portion of the schedule when there's no class? And I don't think they go back to school for, 2 weeks or something like that. And so really you're still focusing on basketball, and now you've got all the holiday stuff out of the way as well.
I like it personally just because it is a focus on basketball, and there's extra time in the gym, extra time for film, not such rushed days. But I will say that as it goes along, you begin to need to get them into an organized day again. They need to get on a schedule, but we're not at that point yet. But as it moves along, when you get a little closer, it's like, okay, they need to go back to class and get busy again. But I do think that it's a good time for them to focus on some things that when you get into November and season rushes so quick, you kind of get away from fundamentals a little bit. So I think it gives you a chance to go back to some basics and work on some things that need to be worked on, that you kind of lose in December.
I think it was Coach Smart that was talking about even the mental fatigue. Do you notice that in this moment or in these days that they feel more rested, that they feel?
Oh, for sure. I mean, just because the last couple of weeks in December, they're going through finals. I mean, our team limped into Christmas, really. And I think a lot of it was the mental fatigue of the last stretch of academics.
Have you been pleased with the support? I mean, this program has become one of the more successful ones at the University of Texas. And have you been pleased with what you've seen from Texas fans so far? And I guess what would be your message to get more people out to these games?
Well, I'm super pleased with the excitement that we have with a lot of new fans. I do think that it's catching on. I don't want to say that I'm satisfied, because I do think that it's a really good product. Wednesday night's going to be a fabulous basketball game. I mean, they are really good, and I think our team is playing good. So I expect this to be a very high-level game. And, you know, it's a chance for families to get out maybe and bring their kids, and I do think that our team is fun to watch. So I don't know that pleased would be a word for it, other than that I do think the people that are coming in the gym are having a good time and they're creating excitement for our team.